Everybody ready? Steve? T-Rex, remember my saying back in the wintertime when we were skiing on Tuesdays? Yes. He says, I remember your line, TK. Tuesdays are good if you can get them. That was like all winter long. The big windy weekends had died down. The sun would come out on a Tuesday and it would be a powder day. Well, this is the equivalent of the joy of a powder day, being a bluebird this morning, and really shocked how little smoke there is in our sky right now. Let's close the door and discuss the situation. I do not have on my noise canceling microphone because it's calm. The air decoupled last night. Radiational cooling. Not that smoky of a sky. Pleasantly surprised. The concrete workers have showed up on the job this morning. So the sunrise is 10 past 5, right? And I got the temperatures at 6 a.m. So coldest readings of the day. It's going to be a remarkable recovery. Because a lot of us were in the low 50s this morning, but there was a cold spot there beneath the summit of Mount Washington at Whitefield, New Hampshire, 33 degrees. Not quite frosty, says Josh at J up north. It was 37 at his house this morning, Montgomery, Vermont. And so that was radiational cooling, and I did check the records. The record low for Whitefield today is 30 from 2003, so not record cold. And it's going to go up to about 75 degrees, so 40-degree temperature rise for places that were in the 30s this morning. 30s all the way down into southern New Hampshire and parts of Massachusetts again today. Summit of Mount Washington, the sky cleared overnight, and the temperature went to 34 this morning. Another 0.6 inches of snow yesterday, 0.7 the day before, so we've got 1.3 inches of snow. It's melting rapidly now on the top, and the June thaw has begun. So we've achieved the climatological average of 1 inch of snow on the month of June for Mount Washington, and we've gone to 1.3, so 130% of the average climatological snowfall, and we're probably done with that. Probably. How many times have I said that? And also last night, Ryan Knapp and so many people looking up with the sky clearing and not too much smoke, and a sensational night for the Aurora Northern Lights. There was a coronal mass ejection solar storm about last Friday or so. Ryan, thank you. Tony Rod in Goshen, Massachusetts. Tony Rodriguez. He says, this is about my 70th night taking pictures of Aurora, and it's the first time I've had blue on the top. So, like a rare event. I was asleep. I missed it. Those shots are mostly from after midnight. I like to sleep, hopefully, 10 to 6. All right, I'm just walking down here because Steve walked down here. Why don't we go say hello to the Peony? A lot of people commenting. Someone last week commented about the ants on the top of the peony, kind of eating the seal on top of the peony that helps them bloom. I don't know. I think they're more just eating the nectar, but I love all the comments. And we got a comment request. I got to remember this. Vermont Bird and Ski asked, is there any rain in the forecast for those fires are burning in Canada and northern Minnesota? Yes, there is. So don't let me forget to show that. There is rain in that forecast. Where was I going to go before then? The smoke from those fires from space, the satellite imagery this morning. Interesting, we talked about it a couple times. An ocean storm has developed well southeast in Nantucket on the departing upper level low. And the smoke is kind of swirling around that ocean storm out there. And it looks like a thick band of smoke just east of Cape Cod. And also the Saharan dust from Africa. Look at the Saharan dust from Africa and the smoke from Canada almost joining channels right there over the Atlantic Ocean. And the clouds are the white part, and the smoke is kind of grayish, and the dust is kind of brownish. It's hard to discern, but fascinating in that respect. And here in the Northeast, we're just kind of lucking out with the smoke plume mostly missing. Leif and Peya on the move this morning, commuting with the big boat. Yeah, I like to get to know my neighbors. All right, the audio changes. I'm back to a normal one zoom so you can hear me again better. Smoke forecast, pretty interesting. So we're getting kind of old smoke that went to the south. The fires are in Canada. The smoke went down to the southeastern United States, now is lifting back to the north. And we are on the edge of the smoke that is still forecast to become a little thicker, but so far pleasantly surprised with how smoke-free our sky has been in New England. And it's a tough forecast. Until we get a straight flow from south central Canada, we're probably going to just have thinner smoke. That's by the way things are going here. I'm kind of putting this together every day. And so our flow is going to come from that direction when it gets really warm in a couple of days. How about if I show you the Boston meteogram? This is the Euro, and it shows nice weather today in the 70s. And then tomorrow we start getting into the 80s as the air picks up from the southwest a little bit tomorrow. And then on Thursday, well into the 80s. And usually these temperatures are underdone. So I think we're going to hit 90 in New England by Thursday and into Friday. And then it shows a lightning bolt with a triangle exclamation point. That means a thunderstorm, and perhaps damaging thunderstorms in Boston area on Friday. They'll be moving down from the north Thursday into Friday. And then the red line and the blue line come together. Red line temperature, blue line dew point, and notice how they're kind of gliding down in a sinuous wave. Friday, it's getting cooler, and then Saturday, temperatures and dew points are in the 70-degree range, very sticky with showers. A front that's stalled over us, then in the 60s with the temperature and dew point, and clouds and damp weather continue on Sunday. Pardon me if you've heard this one before. And then they keep going down Monday into Tuesday. That means mostly cloudy with off and on rain. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. If the Euro is right, nicer weather north, and perhaps something kicking in the tropical nature department here. Another view of the satellite imagery, that shaded area there in the southeast off the coast of Florida to South Carolina. The National Hurricane Center says a non-tropical low pressure system may develop in here. And if it spends enough time out over the water, it could become a tropical or subtropical cyclone headed toward Nantucket this weekend. So, oh, I break for birds. Heron. Catbird squawking at Steve. And Peya and Leif coming back around again. Looks like they were just dropping off a skiff or something. Yeah, that bird's barking at you, Steve. Tropical cyclone? What was he saying? What? Huh? It's not going to be any worse than the storms we've had over the last couple of weeks. We've had 2 storms in the last 2 weeks that have caused winds on Cape Cod of more than 60 miles an hour. That's not going to happen this time. But it is going to potentially be rain. So there's going to be a front coming at us from the west and the north, and that's going to bring the smoke and the thunderstorms in here Thursday, and then it's going to press south and may try and merge with some of that energy coming up from South Carolina. And why don't we watch that now using the Euro? By the way, the GFS still has a hurricane, and the GFS, which would have had the hurricane in Florida this weekend, and then changed to Mississippi and Louisiana next weekend, and now it's changed to the coast of Mexico, by the way, if you're watching the GFS and its hurricane circus, really. Until something like that shows up, it's just so inconsistent and so all over the place, and that's why we use the Euro. So here's the Euro, no sign of any hurricane, but I get that system in the middle of the nation with all that rain headed up onto the fires. Rain for the fires in northern Minnesota and parts of eastern Manitoba. And that rain stays north of us, and we get the backside of this high pressure system and wind from the west and the 570 thickness coming in here. And that's more so for Thursday. A few showers and thunderstorms on Thursday north, and that front's going to slowly press to the south. And you see from the south, we have another low developing, and that's perhaps a subtropical system now, according to the Hurricane Center. And the front presses south on Friday. Big thunderstorms and strong winds and lightning and perhaps damaging wind with some of those thunderstorms. Then it's Friday night and, of course, Saturday. That system from the south and the front kind of merge. Heavier rain possible in southeastern Massachusetts. That's going to be a moving target. Looks like Saturday, though, we may be dry at the Canadian border. And then that dry weather not really pressing south. The front is stalled over us, even though the heaviest rain looks like it's moving off on Saturday night. On Sunday, there's a lot of residual leftover low-level moisture, and like that means fog and cooler weather and a chance of a shower. Another upper-level low, nowhere near as strong or cold as the last several, but that's going to be here now Sunday. And now here comes another system from the south, and that one looks like it wants to be a moderate nor'easter type hybrid situation next Monday night into early Tuesday. So that's been something we've been watching for some time. So all these waves of energy coming over us, keeping us damp. And then it looks like we're going to gradually undo the chill. Next Tuesday doesn't look as good as this one. Wednesday does look better. Thursday, now we're getting out there to June 12th. That's 240 hours. We're going to stop it there on June 12th. And it shows the 570 line back in New England. So day 10 would be back to Suddenly Summer. The sequel, Suddenly Summer, is going to happen this week, and it could happen again the same time next week on a Wednesday and a Thursday with the front just north of us. That would be pressing south, but that's rain on those fires there in central Canada. And if you look on the west side of Canada there, the 540 is near Seattle, off the coast of Washington, the 540 being that cold enough for snow. And it looks like the second week of June could be quite snowy in the mountains off to the northwest in Washington and especially southwestern Canada. And we would be hot at that time. All right, and while I'm thinking of that snow, I want to show some imagery that, what's he call himself? Pilot Popper Pete flew from his low temperature in Lancaster yesterday of 35 degrees from Massachusetts. He flew over Wyoming yesterday, and he dipped down with his camera anyway. I don't know about the jet plane. He said he was up around 40,000 feet, and the Grand Tetons looking grand. It's still snow-capped out there, where mountains go up 10,000 feet in the sky, and ours only goes up 6,288 feet on Mount Washington. Break for Steve comes over and rubs my leg while I'm talking, and T-Rex is just sitting here. We got a great cast of characters on Out the Door, Weather and More, and contributors like Pilot Pete. And I'll show you another one from Rob Wright in Rollinsford, New Hampshire. He always does these time lapse. He got the Aurora last night. He said there was some fog, and he had all kinds of Starlink and meteors and things flying through the sky. What were all those things? Meteors, satellites, Aurora, coronal mass ejection last week of the sun, from the sun. All right, and now the request for how much rain is going to fall near the fires. First of all, here's the fire map. And the fires are mostly across Canada into, it looks like near Lake Superior. And so it looks like some rain is forecast on those fires in eastern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And here is the QPF, Quantitative Precipitation Forecast from the Euro, with the rain, not so much next couple of days. That rain's going to go north just to the east of the fires here. And then we get that rain coming in here on Friday and Saturday, Sunday. The Euro, by the way, prints out 2.3 inches of rain for Boston from Friday to Tuesday. And there's the rain next week coming across Canada. And some decent rain. See that mustard color there in northern Minnesota? That's more than 4 inches of rain. So those storms are going to get rained on there. This goes out 240 hours through next Thursday, June 12th. And you see here in the New England region, we have that band of rain mostly coming out of the Midwest through New England. And most of that tropical nature rain from off South Carolina is in a conduit missing New England just to the south. But the stakes are fairly high. So after a couple of dry days here now, it's going to get quite wet again. And so green grass in June, maybe green grass in July. Talking about like a couple of years ago. And a couple of years ago is when we had all that smoky sky, but that's so far hasn't evolved. You can see the wind picking up as I zoom in. My audio changes, but you get that still glassy water on this side of the channel, and then the little willy-waws and zephyrs, as Doug likes to call them, showing up over in Quincy with the air coming in from the southwest. But it's going to be a fairly light wind tomorrow. The southwest gradient is going to pick up for you, Kevin, tomorrow for the sailboat race tomorrow evening. And it should be just like summertime. That's the weather. Then more. Yesterday, just kind of watching the workers down the beach. And what else? Maybe I get some bird sounds. Not a lot from yesterday. I was anticipating more smoke in the sky, but we watched the sunset. And oh yeah, I have a confession. Steve got away a couple nights ago. Sunday night, he spent the night out, and I couldn't find him. So yesterday morning, I had to go on a walk to find Steve, and I found him across the street. I say his name, I say Steve, Steve, and I started hearing him meow. But that walk yesterday morning was at sunrise, and I went down through the construction zone. So I'm going to show you some highlights of me in search of Steve. What are you looking at, Steve? Right now he sees a mouse or something he wants to get. Oh, what's over there? I see a lot of things moving. Yesterday on my sunrise walk, there were so many squirrels and rabbits. Like, I'm talking dozens just in these 2 yards right next to me. Hundreds on my walk, but they were scattering as I was walking. But I found Steve, and he's okay. Oh, there it is, the baby bunny right there. It's gonna take a left. Yep. Sorry, Steve. But Steve is safe and sound. But anyhow, that sunrise walk, I got to go through the heavy equipment. So I'm going to take you through the heavy equipment at sunrise yesterday, right through sunset last night with the pretty clouds. All right, here it is from yesterday. Thanks for joining us, Steve. I was really nervous. So happy that you came back. They always come back, right? Let's put the food out. And more from yesterday. Pretty chilly. Sunrise. Looks like we have an ocean effect cloud out there. Freezing levels up around probably 7,000 feet. Southern New England. Check the growth on this slope. I do see one of the dogwood sticks. It's starting to root. One. I see one. Oh, nope. There's another one. Nope. That's a rose. So one of these dogwoods. A couple more right there. Maybe. Oh man, these things are huge, huh? I'm gonna look around for Steve. Steve. Drainage. I'm not sure if it's from the street or the yards or what. Coming out in there though. A nice groomed beach. Did not see a lot of action on this first weekend of meteorological summer. but it's gonna heat up this week. Santa sunning in Weymouth. Like 10 squirrels living right here. Steve, look at them all. I'm gonna get attacked by squirrels. Seven 20 a.m. Monday, of course, beautiful weather on a Monday, June 2nd. A few spots get down to 39 degrees this morning in Orange, Massachusetts, and Lewiston, Maine. The cold spot I've seen so far in the Northeast is 30 degrees in Bradford, Pennsylvania, unless you want to count the top of Mount Washington, where more than an inch of snow has already fallen this summer. It's 29 degrees and warming. So T-Rex had to go out the door a little early today. We're not prepared to do the weather, but I think we still have some suddenly summer in the forecast, but not before another day of instability clouds. One more upper low swinging through, sort of an appendage of the upper low that's been here for a few days. Hey Max, here's a video just for you. There's Steve. We just shot out the door, weather and more, and look how clean our sky is. Birds, total blue sky. We are in a donut hole of smoke. It's not even visible on any of the horizons here. Look at that north. There's Winthrop, there's Boston. We got some instability cumulus starting to form. And what's all that racket down there? Exclusive content for Max Decks. The blowouts from the rainstorms being repaired. It's constant. Fortunately, the blowouts happened while they were still on site, and they're just putting in some stone for drainage and then covering it. And the rebar is going up for the concrete concourse. I think they're going to start pouring concrete anytime right now. Anytime now, like maybe today. And enjoying this smoke-free air, but it's not going to last that long. All right, Max. Keep moving. Thanks. See a yellow butterfly. There was a Carolina wren just singing until I turned my phone on. 1 o'clock. Beautiful Monday. Mondays are great. There's the wren. That tree's pretty hurting, huh? 3 p.m. looking off to the east. Focus planes landing towards the northwest. A light breeze from the west has just kind of dissipated. Almost a sea breeze trying to form, it looks like. So the sky is still fairly blue over in that direction, but look at the sky over to the west. That is not a cloud, that is the smoke. The white in the sky has arrived. It's fairly thin, it's not brown yet, but watch the sunset. And what about the progress down on the Big Dig? Concrete form people are still putting the rebar together. I suppose there's gonna have to be some wood put over that before concrete is poured. This is ongoing. I've always been fascinated with construction, especially like bridge construction, so this almost looks like a bridge construction to me. All right, so did a meeting. I'm gonna come back up for sunset and see what the color of the sky is in a little while. Shifting gears a little bit, still some smoke, not that much though. And we've got green blueberries showing a little bit of color. Blueberry season right around the corner. But it's the strawberry moon tonight. Could call it the rose moon too. A lot of red. I'm keeping it all local today. Steve and T-Rex out for sunset, our favorite time. And the sky looks a little more blue now than it did a couple of hours ago. So we've got waves of smoke this time. Tug going through the very small waves on the water, and a ferry. And we'll probably make another time lapse here to conclude the day. So we saw the sunrise this morning, and we'll see the sunset this evening. And it's still pretty clean air. Still pretty happy about this. Hopefully Steve does not go on walkabout tonight. We'll keep track of Steve. And Peony's still looking good. All right, time lapse coming up, starting in a few minutes. The last of this upper level low. And of course, there's another one coming for the weekend. Yeah, there's a slight chance it could miss. Sometimes they're wrong in that 5-day forecast. Once in a while. Waves. Hey, the roses are starting to open, finally. Steve is on Steve's rock. And we're just gonna watch the sunset time lapse here. I just got distracted by another mission, but this should be good. Just gonna stabilize the tripod, aim it, and let it go. So what I might do is I might, as the sun goes over the horizon and there's a lull in the sunset color, play a time lapse from at least Cape Cod, but I'm not sure if the Weymouth cam is working. So that's why I need to make this time lapse also. Full day is fun, but the sunset itself is even more fun. So here we go. Birds singing and all. It's been about 50 minutes. The sun's been down for about 10, so it's one of those nights where it does not get brighter after sunset. Okay, gotcha. It doesn't get that smoky either, but it was pretty, that's for sure. So we're gonna call it a day now. Just pick up the camera and move it over a little bit. Look at that little chunk of cumulus clouds. Turn the zoom to 1 time so you can hear me better. Boston. There's Andrew and Sophie looking for stripers. And that's the day. The Weymouth cam did come back, so hopefully you saw a portion of the Weymouth time lapse and Cape Cod all day. I'm sure I threw it in there because the sunset was a little less than exciting after the sun went over the horizon. And there's a strawberry moon. Focus, camera, focus. No? Come on, you can do it. Focus. No, too smoky. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you tomorrow.